GoToWhitney.com.
Hey everybody, we are in Asbury Park in front of McCloone Supper Club, and I am next to Frankie Previte and Lisa Sherman, and they're going to tell you all about the cool new shows that you can see right here in Asbury. Now, Frankie, you're pretty cool, I have to say. One of my favorite movies is Dirty Dancing, and I know that you wrote this song. I know you've been interviewed about this forever, but now you're talking to me, so we have to talk to you about it. Talk to us about writing the song I've Had the Time of My Life and Hungry Eyes for Dirty Dancing.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's kind of a long, exacerbating story that I'm going to put down into about 30 seconds. I got a call to write a song for a movie that I knew nothing about. I was trying to get a record deal, and the man upstairs actually wrote Time of My Life because I would have never written that song in a million years. Wrote it on the Parkway, exit 140, and Hungry Eyes was on my demo reel that nobody liked. And those two songs changed my life. So it's the beginning of me becoming a songwriter as opposed to more of an entertainer. I was in a band called Frankie and the Knockouts that had hit records as well. So welcome to my new career.
Yeah, right? No, so you did have a great career. You did a lot of cool things. And like you said, this kind of spiraled into writing and producing more. I was reading in one of your articles, you were giving advice to people, make sure to own your rights, own your publishing rights. Can you just touch on that for other young artists right now? And also, is the industry still the same as it was, 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
So the Bible says, the songwriting Bible, that thou shalt never give up thy publishing. And so I learned that by giving up my publishing many times earlier on and never making any money. So when they asked me to write Time of My Life and Hungry Eyes, and they loved it, and they came to me and said, we'll give you $1,000 for that song, which was really, not a lot of money. And that was for a sync license. But the key word here is, let me keep my publishing. And what that means is when $1 is made, 50 cents goes to the writer, 50 cents goes to the publisher. And so when you can keep your publishing, you're allowed to make the whole dollar. So you songwriters out there, the key is keep your publishing if you can. It's the key to your longevity, and it's part and parcel of how you're going to stay alive if you have hit records. It's much different today than it was. I kind of slid under the limbo pole, so to speak, the musical limbo pole of when CDs meant something. And so today, with everything being streamed and the Spotifys and all that, the amount of performance royalties, because there are many forms of publishing. There's sync license publishing, means they synchronize your song to their movie or commercial. There's mechanical publishing, which means they press a CD and mechanically make a record. And then there's performance royalties. And those performance royalties are airplay, either television, radio. And so the amount of money that you would have made back in the day is much different than now, because the Spotifys of the world pay you a very, very small fraction of what real radio pays you. I mean, really small fraction. So you could have 1 million airplays on Spotify and make under $100. So you're not retiring on that money. So your real money is being made then from your sync license, synchronizing your song in a movie or a commercial. Getting on an iTunes is a good thing because they will pay you fairly, as opposed to some of the other places that pay you a lot less. So yes, there is money to be made, but not anywhere near back in the day.
And then talk about working with, or even just knowing Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. Is there any cool stories that you want to tell us that maybe nobody knows about?
There's the one that always comes to my mind is when I met Patrick at the Academy Awards. I was blessed that year, to win an Academy Award and a Golden Globe and a Grammy nomination, stuff like that. But when I met him, his first words to me were, "Dude, who sang the demo?" And I'm like, why is that important? He goes, because whoever did, I said, well, it was me and Rochelle Capelli. I had a partner that sang. He goes, we had 149 songs that we had listened to, and we filmed that a sequence. So we filmed the last scene first, And we didn't have a song. We were getting ready to do this scene to a Lionel Richie track, and he goes, "We hated the movie. Hated it. Your cassette back in the day, back in 1987, came in, you singing Time of My Life with Rochelle, and we filmed to you singing Time of My Life. And we filmed to you singing Hungry Eyes." And he goes, after that filming of that day, we looked at each other and went, what a great movie this could be. What a great ending. Let's go make the movie. And he goes, it really just, the camaraderie, just did a 180. And we were so psyched that it created what Dirty Dancing is today. But you know what? The phenomenon of Dirty Dancing is a culmination of Patrick, Jennifer, and a song. And if you take one of those pieces from that puzzle, I don't think you have the same phenomenon. Really.
Okay, and then talk to us about being in Asbury. You have this Decades of Divas show, and that's when we're going to actually bring in Lisa in a moment. But how did that come about, the Decades of Divas?
Really, Decades of Divas was about 2 years ago. I met Lisa in Point Pleasant, and I saw her singing in front of 2,000 people. And she got on stage, and she ingratiated the audience like a true professional. And I said, well, if this girl can sing, because she has them now in the palm of her hand, they're really going to really love her. Well, she did 5 songs and got 4 standing ovations. Wow. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta know who this voice is. So I went over to her later and I introduced myself and I said, what are you doing next? What's going on with you? And she goes, I do the Count Basie every year. I do the Strand. I do the Algonquin. But my next show, I want to do this show called Decades of Divas. And this major light bulb kind of went off in my head. I said, we need to talk.
Wow.
And so it has evolved to where we've played the Count Basie and did really well there, and the Strand. And because of that, there's this gentleman named Mark Medoff, who is a Tony Award-winning playwright. And he's also an Academy Award-nominated director of Children of a Lesser God. Okay. And Marilyn, right? And he saw the EPK, which is an electronic press kit, if you don't know what EPK means. And he said, I'm in. I go, what do you mean you're in? He goes, Decades of Divas is great that it's kind of it's a concert with a Broadway thread. I want to write the thread. Oh, wow. I said, take the thread. Here's the thimble. Yeah, right now he is on board, and we're going to be doing some 3D projection with it, as opposed to how we have it now set up as 2 nightclubs on stage, and the street down the middle is Memory Lane. We're changing that all around to now 3D projecting all that stuff. Wow. And having birds fly into the audience and rainbows and kind of some...
And dancers.
Yeah, dancers that'll be dancing next to her that are really...
And then all of a sudden they'll disappear.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so
So
cool.
some,
Right.
we have some cool ideas, now we just got to pull them off.
I have a feeling you will. I have
All
a
right,
feeling.
we're trying.
Decades of Divas, and now in Asbury this Saturday we have the tribute to Bonnie Raitt with Lisa Sherman. You're super talented, and I love the fact that you have this big range. You can do anything while you're on stage, and you also have a big career from outside of performing on stage. But let's talk about the show this Saturday first, the tribute to Bonnie Raitt. What can fans expect from you?
The best part about the show is that we're celebrating Bonnie Raitt, the woman, her music, her trials, her tribulations, like many of us have as artists. And she's had, her career has spanned close to 5 decades. And within that time, she's written so many incredible songs and worked with so many amazing people. I grew up with Bonnie Raitt, and it was just something that inspired me. I wanted to put a show together. And so I did, and it's called The Best of Bonnie Raitt, and it's not it's not a situation that we're trying to portray her, We're not. I'm not going to put the little gray stripe in the hair and all that. I am not Bonnie Raitt, but I certainly can celebrate her music and have a huge amount of respect for the woman. I think it's 28 songs, and we're starting with songs that she did in the late '60s, and working all the way up to her present time.
Have you talked to Bonnie Raitt? Have you said, hey, this is what, have you called her and been like, hey, listen, this is what we're doing?
Oh my gosh. Oh, could you imagine? That would be really, I would love to meet Bonnie Raitt. And who knows, never say never. But no, I have not spoken to her. She doesn't know I exist yet, but you never know. And the show is actually getting quite a buzz. And this is our second production. It's just been picked up to be at the Algonquin Theater on October 24th. Yeah, that's in Manasquan. So if you can't make it to the Supper Club this Saturday, being July 25th, we will be running the show again at the Algonquin Theater.
I mean, we would definitely want to check it out, July 25th, right here at McCloone Supper Club in Asbury Park. Now, Lisa, tell me about yourself. You're no stranger to the media world. You've done so many you've been on TV a million times. What are some of your favorite things that you've worked on in the last few years?
What's been going on over the past few years, in conjunction with Decades of Divas, is putting together these other productions. One is called The Disco Connection, and to no surprise, I mean, disco and that era, the music of it is truly coming back. I mean, people were happy then. Well, it never, I mean, disco never dies. Yeah, we know all that. But, you know, for someone to put a band together, I have a 9-piece band called The Disco Connection. And I have to tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's popular. People want to just go out and dance and remember that time of their life that made them happy. Yeah, it keeps on coming back, right? It just keeps on coming back.
Do you perform here in Asbury or New Jersey?
I perform here in Asbury. We perform. I've been in New York most of my life. I grew up a Broadway baby, and so I've spent many, many years on the New York stage and touring. I was originally a Rockette. I worked with the Rockettes at Radio City. You didn't know that?
No,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't know that
How
for
about
some
that?
reason, but that is so
Here's some
cool.
information for you.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not kicking any legs. It's not happening. However, I did for a lot of years. And so spending, you know, the early part of my life on the Broadway stage and off Broadway and a lot of cabaret, you learn a lot. And I gained a lot of confidence and a lot of experience and worked with some incredible people, which was really great. I grew up a dancer and a singer, and I have a degree in dance. However, I actually got busy on Broadway and never finished the degree until later on in my life. And long story short, I ended up becoming quite connected with Nike. I was sponsored by Nike because I had a show in New Zealand that was called the Dow Power Hour, and at that time, it was all about exercise sciences and everything that had to do with exercise. And it was like a Good Morning America show, but it was an exercise program. So yes, I was signed with Nike, and that had nothing to do with the theatrical background, except the experience of being on stage or having the experience of being in front of a camera. So it all kind of connects, this big circle. So yes, I have the exercise component, the theatrical component, and here I am, right now with you.
Being that Lisa is in the Nike family, we thought what a perfect connection, and we've been sending out, and they're embracing and looking at Lisa then and now. And you know, well, for 9 years she was with them and did a great job for them, touring around the country, certifying other trainers and doing her own television show. She's being a little modest here, but you know, she's a hell of an exercise kinesiology major and teacher, and I think that those two things are her forte in life, are her heart, you know. And I can see it when she's on stage. This is an inside thing. She exercises every day, and she gets on one of those spin bikes and gets her heart rate up to about 139, and then she sings her show.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know.
It probably helps because it helps you not get out of breath.
Singing. It's a wonderful training protocol as far as learning how to project on stage with the acceleration of excitement and, you know, just being able to cardiovascularly perform, sing, hit that note, hold it right, and it all comes from the training within.
He's not here right now. Oh, there he is. So how excited are you to have Lisa here for the Best of Bonnie Raitt?
Well, you know,
Nice now.
I don't have to be nice because the truth of it is when you're dealing with Lisa, you're always getting high quality product, and that's the deal. And that's what we try to do in the Supper Club so that people come back for other shows because they're never disappointed. And we know Lisa will keep that tradition alive.
You know what I think is great about the club, from my standpoint, is diversity.
Take your time.
I will.
Take your time.
I just put up the cot. Is the diversity. from show to show, that what you can see here, from Glenn Miller Orchestra, to Bobby Bandiero from Bon Jovi band, rock and roll to soul to jazz, and back. So I love that about the club, because you can find everything here.
Well, thanks so much. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, there you have it, everybody. You just spoke with Frankie Previte and Lisa Sherman. Come here to Asbury to McCloone Supper Club. You'll see the best of Bonnie Raitt. Lisa is super talented. Hear all of Bonnie Raitt throughout the decades, and then follow them to see some of the other shows that are going to be coming up, especially the Decades of Divas, which will be showing. You can find one more thing.
I just wanted to say that, being that Patrick was so close to me, and the original demos that were recorded that they filmed to, I sell online. If you go to Facebook, it's Dirty Dancing Demos, and I put a package together, and I donate that money to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And every ticket on the 25th, and from the Algonquin for Lisa's shows, I'm going to donate a portion of that from me to the Pancreatic Cancer Network in Patrick's memory. Thank you, my man.
Thank you. And thank you so much. All your information will be on your screen. Make sure to follow me at GoToWhitney for celebrity interviews, entertainment news, and event information. See you later, everybody.
Hey, did you have a good time with Whitney?
I had a really good time with Whitney. Loved her pants. She dresses really well.
GoToWhitney, right?
GoToWhitney.com, baby. GoToWhitney.com.
Yeah, I'm going where Whitney's going.
I have no doubt. Thank you so much for having us on the show. You're very cool, my friend.
Thank you, Whitney. Love you.
Bye, Whitney.